or change as to what I want to do next, what is the ladder I next want to climb. I wanted to talk to you a bit about that. Like, how have you found your career goals and interests shifting over time?
Oh, definitely. When I first started at USC, after Wellesley, I went straight into USC. I really didn't know what I wanted to do in the film industry. I wanted to try everything. I was in the production program, and they teach you everything from like directing and editing to sound and producing. So for a while after graduation, I did sound design and production sound, and loved that world and loved the art of that. And I produced smaller projects. I did some documentary work, and just from doing a lot of different things, I found that I still really wanted to tell my own stories from experiences that I've had, and things that I've studied at Wellesley. Like I did international relations and Middle Eastern studies, and there's so much material from people that I've met and talked to. So over time, like it's gone from doing a little bit of everything to focusing a little bit more on, okay, yes, I do the reality TV thing as well, but then I also want to do the creative side of storytelling, so writing my own projects and producing projects that I feel passionately about. So I'm producing a feature film with a friend of mine who also went to Wellesley, so that aspect of my creative life is alive and well, and now I'm cultivating stories and screenplays that I want to see come into the world. So those focus, that has shifted over time, and I had to find what I really wanted to do by doing things. So that's how it's developed.
Learn by doing, yeah. Wonderful. Well, I'd love to open it up to you all for questions for our panelists. Yes.
Hi. Yeah. So, Amanda and Michelle, you talked about the topic of mentorship a little bit, and I was just wondering if you found any mentors from Wellesley, if that has been a path that you've taken, or if there is a difference having female mentors versus male mentors in the entertainment industry. I was just wondering. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone I come across from Wellesley in the business is a mentor in some capacity, both older alums, younger alums. Everyone's very generous with their experience, I've found. As far as difference between male and female mentors, there is a difference. I mean, I think there's just a point of view that a male mentor has that's different from mine, whereas all the women I work with and the Wellesley women I've come into contact with, we all so it's different in that sense, but I don't think it necessarily makes it any less valuable. It's just that I go to maybe one mentor, but it's how do I want to say this? It's less about gender and more about specific experience, I suppose. And if I have a particular question, I just know the person to go to based on their experience.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I think you can use the Wellesley Alumni Magazine in a sort of interesting way by going through the different years and seeing if there's anyone that you connect to. The question of mentoring here is subtle. You really can't go to anyone and say, "Oh, I admire your work. I want you to mentor me." It's a big deal for somebody to mentor you. So you have to, but there's a way that you can do it. One of the interesting things is it always needs to come from you. What are you interested in? What are the programs that you are interested in? If you're interested in a specific person in the field, why? Get to know something about them. See, and I think, one of the really smart ways is finding out the volunteer, the interests of somebody who you might want to mentor with. Because if you're working with somebody, for instance, as an assistant, Megan Peterson, who's like was one of the producers of that wonderful film that went on. Oh God, I'll come to it. But a wonderful series that she came on. She worked as an assistant producer for him, and then he came on to do this series. She continued to work with him, and I think, you know, your experience of saying, see if you can find people to work with as assistant, and then follow them, knowing that the really good people you want to work with, even if they run into terrible projects, they're great people, so you'll both survive together. But know that mentoring is a big deal that you have to earn.
And can I just say something about that? When I was at Wellesley, I never went to office hours. And when I graduated, I told myself, if I ever go to grad school, I'm going to utilize office hours.
Yeah.
And when I came to USC, I used office hours a lot. Like, I went to go bother professors, like, all the time. I was, like, that girl because I'm like, you know what, I know how it is. Like, I don't have that many great connections from my Wellesley professors because I never talked to them outside of class. So, and then I became this pest, and I would say, like you said, like, gradually I worked on building a relationship with a professor here, Brenda Goodman, and I've worked on so many projects for her. I assisted her on all these different things, and then she was the one who referred me to my current job right now through Mark and all this connection, and I feel like it was, you know, I took her out for her birthday, and it's not forced, you know, it's like you want to hang out, like you want to talk about like each other's projects and like help each other out. Like I try to help her whenever she needs something, and you know, she always is looking out for me too. So it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship. It ends up becoming more of a friendship than like a mentor-protege kind of relationship.
Yeah, I think the term mentor might freak some people out because, as you said, it is like it carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And it also, I think it's important to have for later in life when you evolve beyond the point of needing the mentor in the mentorship capacity, and you are now on more of a collaborative level. You want it to be less like, you were my mentor, and like more like I respected your work,
Right.
I followed it, you know, I've helped contributed in whatever ways that I can, like I've done great work for you, you know, I've given it my all, and I didn't ask for much in return beyond being able to observe the way you make decisions and the ways you move through the world, which I think is, I think a lot can be said for observation, without having to like declare and like label a mentor, you know, and why not have many, like Michelle said, because I think that serves you very well.
Excellent. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, this is actually an open question. I'll just say my name's Helen. I was Wellesley class of 2014. And my question is, what are some of the most important career choices you made in your early to mid-20s, that like unexpected choices, and like how those like projected, like your example was like house sitting.
Yeah,
Which
and then
that-
stopping house sitting.
Some choices that you guys made when you were, you know, in your 20s and you didn't really have the high, you know, the 20/20 vision. 2020s.
See what she did there.
I wish I would have done what Kate did. I mean, I guess for me the greatest thing was I worked in advertising and I was miserable. But I don't know why, but it just didn't dawn on me that I could quit. And so I kept going and going. I was so miserable.
Quit things.
Yeah. But if you're not happy, I would have been so much better off like getting a job at Starbucks or Barnes and Noble and enjoying my time and writing more, as opposed to spending those 2 years just like selling vacuums and oranges and like, oh my god. Yeah.
But you'll use it.
I try to push it way back there. But yeah, knowing that I can quit, that was the thing, learning that lesson.
I think, oh, sorry, go.
No, well, I right out of Wellesley, I went to England, and I was guaranteed a job in England, and one woman was guaranteed a job from Cambridge University. And we were test cases, and I ended up working as a secretary for the BBC, for the African service. And I'd been fascinated, we're talking, 1960. So this is a great, very important, fascinating time in Africa. And, but I didn't know what it would be like to live in Africa as, as a Caucasian on another continent. And when BBC hired me, they said, well, we'll hire you as a secretary, where do you want to work? And Julius Nyerere, who had been president of Tanganyika, had come to Wellesley, and I had been his host and showed him around. And I said, oh, well, I want to work for the African service of the BBC. And I did. And then I applied for the Peace Corps. I was in the first group to be accepted, and they wanted to send me to the Philippines. And I thought, oh, that's just like the government. That's ridiculous. And so I went and got a job with the government of Tanzania and taught school on Kilimanjaro at an African girls government girls school, and it was an incredible experience that I truly loved. And then I came back to this country, and there was, I got a job working, scheduling guests on the radio show. So you just never know. It's these little jobs and that came as a result of offering to work on a script on Schweitzer, and Dee Dee Allen was editing a film on him and on the woman who did the film on him. And Dee Dee Allen is one of the great film editors, and I ended up working for her husband